Good morning. It is Saturday the 8th. It is the Saturday of a 3-day weekend for me. I'm very excited. I feel like the last couple times I've had a 3-day weekend, it's been because I've had to do something on like the extra day. Like we had a vet appointment for Christmas in August and I don't know. But anyway, I'm excited to have the extra day off this weekend. I have no real big plans necessarily, but it'll be nice to just have a day to chill and work on writing stuff as I see fit. So the plan for today, of course, is to do some writing and some scene breakdowning. Let me tell you a little, just briefly, what I was able to do over this past week, because I did work on stuff, the other days of the week. I kind of took the same approach this week as I have been for the past couple months, where I was just working on stuff when I felt like it. I wasn't pressuring myself to like sit down every day or do a certain amount by the end of the week or anything like that. So there were days where I worked on it for like quite a while after day job was done, and there were other days I didn't even touch it. So I did get to just past the midpoint in my scene breakdown stuff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I talked about it extensively in my last vlog. I'll link that below for you. So today I am hoping I can get through the rest of Act 3, and then I'll just have Act 4. Maybe I'll get into Act 4 stuff, I don't know, but I should be able to finish out Act 3 scenes today. And this is super helpful. I'll maybe break down a little more clearly what exactly I'm doing a little later on in the vlog, but it's helping me. It's already helped this past week. There were a couple scenes where I didn't need them to be scenes. They could be combined with something else. And there's been a couple times where like something about the scene just doesn't seem like it's fitting right. And I'm not exactly sure what that thing is. If it's something wrong with like how the characters are behaving, or something wrong with like this plot point doesn't make sense, or I don't know. So I've just put in brackets over some of them, like needs work, to be like, I don't know if this is quite right. But that I can go back and fiddle with a little later. There's also one scene where I'm not sure which point of view I want to tell it from. It's a dual POV story, and so I've been listing out like, okay, this one is from this character's POV and this one is from this character's POV, and there's one scene in particular where I'm like, it could be from either one. I don't know who it should be from. So I actually did the scene breakout thing for each of them. Like, if it's from this person's POV, here's the details. If it's from the other person's POV, here are the details. Yeah, so anyway, it's just been very helpful. I'll get into maybe a little more of a breakdown here in a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty ready to get started. It's about 9:30 at the moment. The dogs are starting to wind down and get ready for maybe a little bit of sleepy time. We have the ambient music going in the living room there, like you saw at the beginning. We've been really trying hard. One thing that you did miss in my multi-month hiatus was the issues we've been having with Jade. I think the last video I posted was like at the beginning of June, and that was before anything even started with her. It was like mid-June when we had the first incident. But basically what's happened is she's decided that certain areas of the house are hers, and she can get really defensive of those areas if you try to go into the area when she doesn't want you there. So that's been fun. So we've tried a whole slew of stuff to try to reduce that behavior and all that kind of stuff. Took her to the vet to see if there was something weird going on health-wise. She was fine. We've worked with an animal behaviorist in the area who was great, gave us a lot of really good information and tips and things to try. We've been doing a bunch of that stuff. That's helped, but it hasn't like completely solved things. So this past week, what we've been doing is I did buy some CBD oil for her, which was recommended by our vet. She said that can help just kind of chill things out a little bit. So we've been trying that. I also bought her a weighted blanket that she seems to very much like. So anyway, we're trying like all this different stuff to try to get her to just be a little more calm and chill and not be as concerned about people coming into her territory. I'm like, I bought the living room, okay? It's mine. It definitely is helping. This past week has been much better than previous weeks. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes today. I think she's playing out there right now. But anyway, so that's just been another thing we've been working on and dealing with the past couple months. But it does seem to slowly be getting better. So, progress, right? Let's go ahead and pull up my document and get started. So I know I've mentioned this before, but one thing I really do love about Scrivener is the fact that you can not only have the dual screens here. So this here is one document and this here is a second document, and I have them both visible at the same time. And then I can also have a separate window open with other information, so I can have all my stuff like really easy to reference, and that's super helpful. So let me show you what this scene breakdown structure I'm using is and where it comes from. It comes from, I believe it's chapter 10 in Anatomy of Story by John Truby. And this is what he considers to be the ideal scene sequence. And I have found this super helpful. So the first 3 points here are really just sort of for your reference almost. You're wanting to think about what is the position on the character arc, where does it fit in with the hero's development, how does it further their character development. You want to think about what problem you as the author want to solve in the scene. So you might say, you know, this is a scene where the character needs to be viewed as empathetic, or this is the scene where this piece of background or backstory information needs to be revealed. And then you need to think about strategy. What strategy will you, as the author, use to show that the character is empathetic or reveal that backstory piece of information? So what strategy are you going to use? Then the next items here are really like the outline of the scene. So there's one character who will be driving the scene in terms of their desire. What is it that the character wants to accomplish within the scene? There will be, of course, an endpoint in the scene. How does the desire resolve? Do they get what they want? Do they not get what they want? Usually a scene will have some sort of opponent. So that could be another character. It could be that character themselves if they're having like an internal conflict of some sort. It could even be something like, you know, nature, if they're fighting against a storm or something like that. Then you need to have a plan, or the character needs to have a plan. How are they going to try to get their desire? There needs to be conflict in the scene. If the character wants to go somewhere and they plan an airplane flight and it lands on time, there's not really much conflict there. So you need to make sure there's some sort of conflict, what's going to be working against the character in the scene. And then typically the scene needs to end with a twist or a reveal of some sort. This can sometimes be a little tricky, but when you figure it out for your scene, it makes the scene so much better, and it launches the reader into the next chapter or the next scene of the story. So some kind of interesting thing to propel you forward. So what I've done is I've created just a little template for myself, and I'm just cut and pasting this little section here into my document to guide me through filling in these different things. I added a few little things to it just for my own reference. I'm adding, you know, what phase or like what act, scene, etc. I'm in. I'll come back to Magic Cookie in a second. I'm listing the setting, where it takes place, the character POV, and then I have a section for other notes if there's just other little details I want to write for myself. The Magic Cookie is a concept that is described by Susan Dennard. I'm pretty sure she has a detailed blog post about it. I'll find it and put it in here, or put it in the description of the video. Basically, she says that every scene needs to have a magic cookie, and this is the sort of hook for the scene. What makes the scene really interesting? What makes it something that you want to write and that a reader is going to want to read? If the scene is just a character traveling on a train and they have some lunch on the train and they arrive at their destination and they don't talk to anybody interesting, like that's really boring. So what could you do in that scene to make it super interesting, or to garner interest of some sort, like that's the magic cookie. Maybe they run into a really weird person who has weird conversation, or I don't know, whatever you want to make up, but magic cookies can make your scene that much more interesting. I'll put a link in the description to just a simple Word document with that text in it. If you want to use this or have it as a reference for yourself, you can just download it and use it. I would highly recommend reading through that chapter in Anatomy of Story, because that'll just clarify exactly what you're supposed to be doing, or, you know, figuring out for each of these points. So, without further ado, I've got some jazzy lo-fi mix whatever pulled up here. I've got my document ready to go. I'm ready to start breaking down some scenes. Alright, so I'm done with Act 3. It's only about 11:30. I think I'm gonna keep going into the Act 4 scenes. Act 3 was actually pretty short. There were only seven scenes in it, and that 7th scene I'm not quite sure is super necessary. I feel like something else needs to happen in that scene. So it's staying for now, but I need to do a little brainstorming, I think, and figure out some other kind of thing that can go on there to heighten the tension or propel you into the next set of the story. The 4th act here also currently has 7 scenes, so I don't know if I'll finish it today, but I'm gonna go ahead and start on that. And yeah, and then I'll be done with this. Like I said though, I do have several scenes earlier in the breakdown that need some kind of work done to them. So I'll be able to, you know, if I can finish today, or at least in the next couple days, I'll be able to go back and sort of do some brainstorming and figure out what I want to do with those questionable scenes. And then after that, I mean, today is the 8th of October. I still have the majority of the month left to do stuff. So once I'm done with this breakdown, I do want to go back in to do some more character work on some of the secondary characters. And I think that could be fun. So still lots of prep work that I can do here, but I'm going to jump back into this and see what I can come up with for Act 4. I'm done. I'm done. I finished the fourth act scene breakdowns. So that's awesome. The end was really easier, because in the end there's like, you're not introducing new conflict or new problems. You're really just like resolving things. So those last couple scenes were really easy to just write out, and I wasn't too worried about being like, who's the opponent? Like, there's no opponent in the epilogue. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so I'm done. It definitely needs a little bit of work. Like I said, there's a few scenes in here where I really need to go back and kind of rethink through how I want it to go. It's a little after noon at the moment, so I'm gonna get some lunch first and take a little break. Maybe come back and look through all this. I don't know. I'm feeling hungry though, and a little just sort of like bleary-eyed. So let's go ahead and grab some lunch, and I'll be back to this in a little bit. Well, here I am in my cozy chair. I finished lunch. That was delightful. It's like 1 o'clock now, and I really don't feel motivated to do anything else. I finished way more than I thought I was going to finish today. And I kind of just want to let it sit, I think. and I'll marinate on things. And then if, hopefully I can figure out how to fix those scenes that need a little bit of tweaking. But not today. Maybe tomorrow. But yeah, I think I'm going to maybe end this here. It's a little bit short, but there you go. I'm trying to be chill and just not push myself to do more than I really feel like doing. Yeah, I'm just kind of done for today. I feel kind of tired and just sort of like, So I'm going to go ahead and end this for now. I'm probably going to do the fishing tourney in Animal Crossing because that's happening today. And yeah, I'll be back next week on Tuesday with a video about character creation. No, you already saw the character one. What's the one coming afterwards? I don't know. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can hit the subscribe button. I post videos on Tuesdays and Fridays so far. Definitely one coming next Tuesday because I already have it uploaded. And probably next Friday too. But yeah, thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day and I'll see you next time. Bye.